Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I'm here to talk about the main event of the evening, Song Yadong versus Ricky Simón. Song Yadong is 19-7-1. He's 25 years old. He's got 2 inches of height, and he's giving up 3 inches of reach to Ricky Simón, who is, I don't know his age. I didn't write it down. But he's 20-3 as a pro. Ricky Simón, we know the 3 guys that have beaten him. They're all UFC fighters, current or former. He lost by TKO to Uriah Faber a few years ago. A fight in which, look, there's no shame in losing to any version of Uriah Faber. But this was past his prime Uriah. And Uriah, even though he's always had slick hands, gotten plenty of finishes, I believe finishes, but I certainly knocked down guys. He knocked down Michael McDonald, Brian Bowles, whoever. He's always had really good knockdown power. But him getting the finish over Ricky Simón really surprised me. Regardless, his submission loss, Ricky Simón, comes to Anderson dos Santos, former UFC fighter, I believe former. But Anderson, very capable fighter, and that happened before these guys were both in the UFC, I believe. And his decision loss comes to Rob Font inside the UFC. Rob Font, as he reminded everybody a month ago, is fucking awesome. There's no shame in losing to that guy. He's one of the only guys who was able to neutralize Ricky Simón's wrestling and take over the fight with his boxing. Rob Font's got those straight punches. And still, Ricky Simón showed he could take it from Rob Font and he can go hard for 15 minutes, which we had no doubts about. We knew that in his Merab Dvalishvili fight, in which he went hard for 16 minutes in a 15-minute fight, and ended up getting a submission victory in the 16th minute of a fight. I don't know how the fuck that happened, but it happened. Either way, he was squeezing for a minute and a half in that fight, and the one thing you can't knock him for is his cardio. This guy, he brings it. He's fucking relentless. And he ground out Jack Shore in his last fight. That was the most impressive win, I want to say. I guess the Merab win is most impressive, but, it's certainly tainted by some controversy. But the win over Jack Shore, there was no controversy at all. It was a dominant victory in the end for Ricky Simón. And Jack Shore's a guy, I know he's inexperienced, and that was kind of him running into a wall, that next level sort of fight, but he's got a bright future ahead of him, and it's going to get better with age at win. Rafael Assunção he knocked out, which, wasn't that impressive at the time. It kind of made a lot of sense, but still, to have that victory is very nice, and he was able to get him out of there with a TKO, which, whatever. You could say, again, it made sense, but he still went out there and did it. Ricky Simón, he's on a 5-fight winning streak. He absolutely belongs in a main event here, which, by the way, let me say, I'm very glad these guys got the main event. I was previewing this fight last week in a 15-minute co-main event, and I said this could easily be a main event of a fight night, of this fight night, talking about last week. And here we are. Whoever the fuck fell through for this one, these guys get the call, and I'm really glad. Song Yadong, of course, had already proven himself to be at the UFC headliner level. He headlined his last one against Corey Sandhagen, which is one of his 2 TKO losses. Comes in the 4th round or after the 4th round due to a doctor stoppage. And it's a fight in which I was still very anxious to see what the 5th round would have looked like. I thought Song Yadong was losing. I don't even know what the scorecard said. They usually release the cards afterwards. I probably should have written that down before coming to make this video. But I thought Sandhagen was winning. Still, Song Yadong showed no sign of quitting him, and he had his, he was in good form till the end. I like seeing that from him. He was just beaten up too much. But his other loss by knockout comes early on to this guy, Paponikov. This Paponikov, I don't know. Either way, this Russian guy who had a deep resume at the time, 21-4 or something, was way too experienced for Song Yadong, and it's a fight that played out the way it should have. He got knocked out early in round 2, and his other 4 losses are all by decision. 1 to Kyler Phillips in the UFC, and then 3 before he got to the UFC. Twice to the same guy, this guy Henat Andar. Once was actually by 5-round decision, which is good to know Song can go 5 rounds in a losing effort, which he may have shown in his last fight anyway against Sandhagen. But Song Yadong By the way, that guy Henad Andar went on to be somebody. He definitely turned a corner. So while he didn't have the prettiest record at the time he fought Song Yadong, it's losses that got better with age. But Song Yadong recently, the form he's in, and he's not even in his prime, probably not close, unless his chin gets shaken up, then maybe this is his prime. But he's 25 years old, so he's still got some climbing to do, no doubt. And he's looked awesome lately. He's already been good enough to beat Marlon Chito Vera by decision. He beat Julio Arce by knockout. He beat Marlon Moraes, which, that fight made a lot of fucking sense. He should have knocked Marlon Moraes out, and he did. But it's, a former title contender, challenger, and he knocked him out. So it's a great win. And even some grimy wins over Casey Kenny. That's a, really tight fight. I thought he definitely won that, but Casey Kenny's a very good fighter, very capable, middle-of-the-pack fighter, probably doesn't get that much respect. Song's a workhorse, and I'm more anxious to see what Ricky Simón looks like in a 5-rounder, but Song Yadong is a very good 5-round fighter. He keeps his power late. I didn't trust his cardio earlier on when he fought. He lost 2 consecutive 3rd rounds to Chito Vera and Cody Stamann. But he won. He went 1-0-1 in those fights. He never lost either of them. So his durability and his offense overall being there for him in rounds 1 and 2, it was enough for him to walk away undefeated in those fights. And after those fights, he actually turned things around, had a solid 3rd round against Kyler Phillips after losing rounds 1 and 2. So while he lost that one, it was kind of a feather in his cap. Either way, look, my prediction is this. I'm going with Ricky Simón. I think Ricky Simón is going to bring a pressure he hasn't felt in a long time. Song Yadong, if he's able to stuff the takedowns, of course I pick him to win this fight, but I don't think he's going to be able to stuff the takedowns. I think Ricky Simón is very competent on his feet as well, and he's going to be in there in the striking battle. But I think he needs takedowns to win, and I think he's going to find them. I can't say Ricky Simón is going to win by finish or by decision. I think it could go either way, although I've played him to win by decision at plus 240 because I'm a degenerate. But my primary pick, bet, I'd say, is Ricky Simón winning flat, minus 120. They're pretty much even. Song Yadong is minus 110. Ricky Simón is minus 120. I think that was very similar to what it was a week ago. And then the fight got turned into a 5-rounder, and the line really hasn't changed that much at all. But in my opinion, despite never having seen Ricky Simón go 5 rounds and having seen Song Yadong go 5 rounds and trusting him, or at least 4 rounds against Corey Sandhagen, but I certainly don't trust Song Yadong to go 5 rounds. But despite that, I'm going with Ricky Simón. Ricky Simón, I'm of the opinion that he's meant to thrive in 5-rounders, and he's already thriving in 3-rounders. So I'm going with Ricky Simón, no doubt about it. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.